again. Did it go?
I think
Are we
the
on?
boy got it.
Are we on? Is this thing on?
Is this thing working?
Hello.
Is it going, Boo?
Yeah, I clicked both.
Well, I want everyone to know that we have a fill-in sound tech today.
That's right.
Drew Davis is in the house taking care of us, so I just want you to know you're doing a great job, and thank you.
I'm so
for
glad you had
standing
more
in.
than one child.
I know. I was telling him this morning, thank God I have, enslaved help at home. If the one can't go, I'm like, okay, one of you two are going with me.
There you go.
He's like, I didn't really have an option, Mom. You made me come here.
We so appreciate
We
it.
pay him. It's fine.
Yeah,
He gets
it's,
paid.
I know you said enslaved.
It's not slavery. Yeah.
Uh-huh. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Indenture. Yeah.
Indentured, yeah.
He's just so they're like, I'm
He gets
not
paid more
listening.
than here than he does at home, I'm thinking.
He doesn't get paid at home.
Right?
There's
So
no-
there you go.
Family responsibilities.
That's right. One time I was over at Michelle's house and
Oh God.
I told the kids how they could,
Oh no.
I was telling them how they could get away with, maybe not emptying the trash can as quickly.
Oh, subversive.
Undermining me.
I kind of was, so I'm not allowed over anymore. And,
That's not true.
no, I'm kidding.
So crazy. Oh my gosh. Yes, I know. I'm a great mom, I think, but I can be tough. Making them do chores and stuff. I know.
I don't think
I
that's tough.
I know. That's why
Yeah.
I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, I think that's necessary in
I
this
know.
world.
And we'll talk about that some other time on the
Yes, we
sofa
will.
because that's not our topic.
That's
today.
not our topic today. So we're coming to you live from, where are we from? The Unleash Your Life Studios at 7220 North 16th Street, Building A,
She does
Phoenix,
look
Arizona 85020. That is not a mailing address for us, by the way. So if you'd like to send us mail, you're going to have to send us an email first and we'll give you a mailing address.
Oh my goodness, lots of information.
So much information.
I feel like you're
Yes.
as tired as me this morning. So we're being a little goofy. It should be interesting. No, but we are here at the home of Reverend Dr. Michelle Whittington's practice, which is so gracious that she allows us to have this space every Sunday for almost a year now.
Yes, almost.
I know, we're almost a year old, but she supports our ministry that way. She's one of our mentors for many years. I don't know how many years for you. For me, it's
10
been
years for
16.
me.
Yeah, 16 for me. So we are so grateful that she lets us use this space. And I guess that's it, right? What else do we normally say? That's it.
That's it for this point. So
I think you're gonna want me to pray. I guess
yeah.
I'm praying in this morning, so
Yes.
I'll start. Thank you. Oh, let's just get grounded. I can feel that we're kind of silly this morning. So with that, the sound of that chime, let's take a deep breath. And we're going to release the breath. And as we take those breaths in and release them, we are coming into this time together. We are coming into this moment together. Grounding in our seats, grounding in wherever you are. If you're listening to this live or you're listening to another time, ground yourself into the present moment and just be here for a little while. Let go of anything that's come before this moment. Release anything that has happened, and as well as just the same as releasing what's already happened, let's release everything that's coming up. So anything that you're worried about, thinking about, things on the to-do list, we're going to let that all go. And we're just going to be in this present moment together. And while we do that, we're going to take this moment and we're going to recognize that there is only one power. There's only one life. There's only one energy, and we call it God. God is love. God is joy, peace. God is abundance. God is connection. God is all there is. And because I know that truth to be true, I know that there's only one thing we all can be made of. Everything we see, feel, touch, hear, smell, everything is only made of one thing, and that is God. And so as each of us are made of God's stuff, like Jeannie likes to say, that magical, sparkly God stuff, we are also that love, that joy, the power, that energy, that connection, that peace and abundance. We are all the things that God is, and we are expressing that in our own unique way. And so, from the place of my knowing my truth of who and whose I am, I speak my word into the law, knowing that the law of God can only say yes to that which am speaking now. And so I know that this time, this moment, as we allow ourselves to let go of anything other than this moment, I know that we receive what is ours to receive. We connect with the sharing, the ideas, the thoughts, the reading, the laughter, the joy, the caring, the love. I know that we connect with that. And we, each of us, take what is ours to take. We receive what is ours to receive. And we carry that into our lives, creating a life we love. And I'm so grateful for this truth. I am grateful that Jeannie and I get the opportunity and the honor to share from the sofa every Sunday, that we get to share what comes to us from Spirit and bringing it forth. I am grateful for that. And so I know that it is perfectly done. It is divinely guided and truly blessed. And so I release it and let it go. And together we say, and so it is.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we are still talking about thoughts.
We are
for this
still
month,
talking
right?
about
That's still the
thoughts.
theme.
We're still thinking thoughts and talking thoughts and thinking thoughts.
Yes, all things.
All thoughts.
And those of you that are here with us, you have your card for today, the topic of the day. My thoughts cause a creative progression of good in my life. That's your affirmation. So whatever is going on in your world, in your life, that what you're experiencing is also what you're creating, and it's coming from the way you're thinking about it. So we want to remember this. My thoughts cause a creative progression of good in my life. We want to make sure this is our narrative. And I know you have a reading to support that.
I do have a reading to support that. And later on, we'll also have a meditation to support
Oh, we
that.
have a meditation today.
Yes.
We do.
So this comes from Anton's New Thoughts for Today. And this is on page 183. And if you're new with us, I just want to say that you can get either on the Anton website or also on Amazon. So, okay. The title of this, surprisingly enough, is Thought.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting. Okay. There must be a constant stream of new thought, better thought, truer thought, to ensure progression in life. Raymond Hollowell, Working with the Law. There is one creative intelligence operating throughout the universe and operating throughout my entire being now and always. This perfect spirit operates upon the law of mind and creates my experience according to my belief. God is divine perfection, and the human personal truth of God expresses in me, as me, and through me. God's divine order is outpictured in my every activity. The law works through omnipresent love, which is God. The all-knowing mind of God provides a principle that is always working. The infinite knowledge of my source increases the growth of my development. It is up to me to direct my thoughts towards positive goals. I live in the now. Through practice, I increase my conscious awareness and open my mind to new ideas. I am the thinker that thinks the thoughts that build my life.
Amen.
I recognize that thoughts, I have that underlined as well.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, we could just stop there.
Yeah,
That's
I am
whole
the
thing.
thinker that thinks the thoughts that build my life. I recognize that thoughts are things. I am free to express new ideas that grow into progressive changes. My creativity is a surging stream that flows forward and onward, unlimited by space and time. My ideas have wings that allow my consciousness to soar to new heights. I know this is the truth of law in action. I gratefully accept this new clarity, understanding, and demonstration in my life as a natural byproduct of my self-discipline in mastering the principles of this teaching. And so it is. Yes, I felt like
Yes.
that was definitely
I'm
a treatment.
serious, yeah.
My new thought causes a creative progression of good in my life. Reverend Dr. Celeste Turkin, Religious Science, Boca Raton, Florida.
Thank you, Reverend
Yes.
Dr. Celeste. There's so much to unpack in this reading for people who are not religious science followers. You know, I'm a practitioner, you're a minister, but there's so much in this. And so I want to remind everyone that we are religious science. That's our faith system is religious science. But we welcome all faiths to Sofa Sundays. And what we usually say is we pray a certain way. So if you're not a religious scientist, you might not have exactly understood some of the steps in my prayer, but that's a time where you could pray your own prayer, you know, in the way that your faith does. As well as this reading today, I think we should unpack it a little bit so that people who don't know would understand it a little bit better. But I think truth is truth, and I think once we kind of share some of the background on some of these statements, I think it gets really clear how the mind works, how your thinking works in creating your life. And if your goal is to create a life you love, wouldn't you want to know that?
Oh, absolutely.
Wouldn't you want to understand it, no matter what your faith tradition is?
So this morning, knowing this was our reading today, I looked up Raymond Hollywell on
The person who did the quote up above, the quote.
Yes, on YouTube. There were a few little 3 to 20 minute things on this book, Working with the Law. One of the things that I heard this morning that I loved was about the law of mind, which can be described as the universe or God. That whatever, and thinking becomes things, whatever thoughts go into the law, then outpicture, you know, or become or manifest, right? Anything that you see in front of you, this book was once a thought, right? The pen was once a thought. So everything that's created in the world was once a thought in someone's mind. Even us. We're once a thought in the divine mind, right?
The divine mind would be in God's mind, right?
Right.
So that's just for people who don't follow our faith traditionally, yeah.
And so Raymond Hollywell talked about how any law works, right? So the law of physics or the law of electricity, how, you know, any law that is operating, when you go to use it as it's meant to be used, it works. Every time, all the time, right? The law of gravity works
Say that one.
every time, all the time, right?
Yeah.
You don't,
Not
you don't
just
have,
on Wednesdays.
right?
No,
You don't have to believe in it. You know, and actually, with this person, we're back. We were having a little moment there. With this person that was describing this book said was, you don't have to pray for the. Is our Instagram not going, or is it back? It's back. Okay, yeah. I think we had a moment of internet issues. You don't have to pray for the lights to come on, unless, of course, you didn't pay APS. Then you might need
to say some prayers.
Right.
Yes.
But you
turn on the switch.
Right.
You expect what to happen?
For the lights to come on.
You expect that.
So the law of mind, or the law of God, right? And for those who are in Scripture, you know, the Father gives all the good, right? He's not holding anything back from you. And I think that's in both the prodigal son and other places in the New Testament, that, you know, there's nothing that's not ours by divine right, by God's greatest good, right? Everything that is here is available. And that's what they talk about with the law of mind. So if you can think it, it can happen. Now,
let me say something to that.
Yeah.
Simply put, the law of God is always operating. So just like the law of gravity is always operating, the law of God is what we just call it in religious science. It's always operating. And the law always says yes. Just like the law of gravity always says yes. If you let go of if I pick this up, let go of it, yes, it will just drop to the ground every time. It just, you know that that's always going to happen. The
And
law,
if it's a ball, that's great. But if it's a crystal,
then
then it might not be
Then
great.
that's
But the
true.
law doesn't care.
the law doesn't care. It always says yes, it's going to drop down. So the law of God is the same way. It always says yes to whatever you put into it. So what we put into it comes from what we're thinking about. So like I would tell True, if True got upset about something, now I'm not saying you can't have your emotions and never be upset. Of course you're going to work through whatever emotions come up for you about whatever it is. But at the same time, whatever you're thinking about, you're putting into the law of God, which always says yes. So if I'm miserable and I'm thinking how everyone's against me and how the world's awful and people are terrible, and you just run with that narrative all the time, the law says, yes, you're right, yes. And the law is going to show you that and prove that to you over and over again. You're going to have more experiences that line up with that. It just keeps bringing that to you, like serving it to you. But if I choose to say, no, I believe the world is good, people are inherently good, and I believe in beauty, and I believe in love, and I believe in whatever, all these positive things, that's what I'm going to see more of. I'm going to see that more in my life and manifesting in my life, because the law also says yes to that. So I think that's something I try to teach my kids is like, yeah, you can be upset about that for a few moments, but remember, you're feeding the law of God stuff. And do you want the law of God to say yes to that and give you more of that? Or do you want to try to find a positive, better way to deal with the situation and have the law of God say yes to that?
Absolutely. And when we were at Anton last week, Michelle and I were talking about Pam Grout's book, E Square, and that she has experiments in there. And Michelle's recently gotten a new car.
I did.
And it's blue.
It's a blue.
It's a bluish color.
Look like a black blue.
It's
Like
a
it's
black
very,
blue.
very dark blue. But it's
Which
blue.
Michelle hadn't seen prior to buying this car and now sees all the time.
I see that dark blue everywhere I go. Even at Ashton, I'm like, look,
Look,
there's a
there
dark
it
blue
is.
car, there's a
There
dark
it
blue
is.
car,
Yeah.
there's a dark blue car. Everyone,
Yeah.
dark blue cars everywhere. Yeah, it's funny.
Before we got our Xterra, I had never seen an Xterra that I was aware of, and now I see them all the time. Matter of fact, I've almost gotten into someone else's several times. I said, "Oh, when did I become that fan of that particular sport?" Because it would be on the back of my truck. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So
But that's what happens. And I think in her book, she gives one of her examples is, what is it, a pink Volkswagen? Like it's a very specific
I
vehicle
can't
and an
remember.
odd color that you would not normally see. So she makes it really, so
Yeah.
when you start seeing this pink, I want to say it was a Volkswagen, but you think about it. She just tells you to think about it. Think about a pink Volkswagen all
Right.
the time. And then next thing you know, you're going to be seeing that. And that will freak you out.
I
Her
rem-
experiments will freak you out to
it's
show you how
very-
powerful your
we're-
mind is.
We've talked about doing that book study as well, because
Yes.
that was an amazing book for watching thoughts become things.
Right.
I remember one of the experiments was blue butterflies, and we had just started the experiments, and Dakota and I were watching a movie, and sure enough, one of the scenes was filled with these bright blue butterflies, and I was like, well then,
Well, there it is.
there it is, exactly.
Yeah, you become a magnet for the things that you're thinking about. So that's something to really realize. Like, whatever I'm thinking about right now, do I want to be a magnet for that? Is that what I want to be creating my life out of? Because I'm attracting that to myself like crazy.
Right.
You are powerful. So if you were to take on some experiments and say, okay, fine, I want to see blue butterflies then, and start thinking about that, just to experiment with your mind and your thought and see how powerful you truly are. And then you're going to start seeing those blue butterflies. You're going to freak yourself out. And then maybe you'll be more aware all the time, because don't discount what you're thinking all the time. You're always thinking.
Unfortunately.
It's running all the time.
It's always,
no,
you know,
try
and
to shut it off.
I have a reading
from Ernest.
from Ernest on that. So in the Science of My textbook on page 144, this chapter is actually called Thoughts Are Things. Because if you've heard that statement before, that actually comes out of the Science of Mind text. Ernest Holmes absolutely talks about this. And this is in the second paragraph. Modern psychology affirms that all thoughts and emotions we have experienced since we came into conscious existence are still present in mind, and mind is capitalized, meaning the divine, the one, the infinite field of possibilities, however you look at it, where ceaselessly active, they manifest themselves as subjective tendencies that mold the body in health or sickness and determine as well our reactions to all life and experience.
Yes, I'm just reading it again.
Yeah.
I'm a visual person, so I like to read. I like to follow along when you read stuff.
So I wrote this little comment, and who knows?
Oh, Lord.
Who knows when I wrote it or where I was, but the comment I wrote is, so all thought prior is seeking to manifest. We must negate the old thought and fill in with new thought.
Very good. Yes.
So when people say new thought, well, new thought, it's been around for 100 years. It's not really new. That is what we're talking about. The new thought coming
It keeps
into your
evolving.
mind.
Yes.
So that's the whole concept behind this, is that we want to change those things that are causing maybe not a life we love.
Right. They're not
Yeah.
serving us
They're not
to
serving.
create the life we want. Exactly. And that's how you can tell. If you look out into your life, we talk about the 8 areas of life.
Mhm.
So your money, your career, your health, your personal growth, maybe your relationships, multiple relationships that we all have, your space around you. That means like your home, your work environment, spaces that you're in. I'm sure I'm missing one, your spirituality. But if you look into the different areas of your life and you're not happy in any of those,
Mhm.
then it's a time to realize try to look at what you've been thinking about them. Sometimes what you're referring to here is you have old thinkings that are still operating underneath all that you're working on trying to create. So it's also important to self-check what old things that you maybe have done that are still running, old programming that's running, and do things, to work against those too, or to change those thoughts around.
Right, because this isn't always so easy. I wake up in the morning, a blank slate, no thoughts running, and I say, oh, now I'm going to think happy, joyous, free thoughts.
It's a brand new baby day.
Exactly.
You start all over.
Now, I would love that to be the case for me, but that is not the case for me. I wake up and something will cause me pain, whether it's my body getting out of bed or I stub a toe, and then I have a little bit of an irritated thing and I haven't had my coffee yet.
Oh, not
So,
the coffee.
right? I mean, so I have to get myself in a space of, okay, let's get grounded. Let's bring myself together. Let's bring myself into a position of thought and peace. And I do this for myself so that going into my day, I'm not bringing that stuffed toad with me.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to stub your toe and then decide that's how the whole day is going to go.
Right.
Have you ever done that? I've done that when I was a lot younger. Like something like that can happen. You're like, oh, this is going to be a terrible day.
Right. I've
Well,
broken
right.
coffee pots. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
The day's over.
The day's ruined.
Go back to
the
bed.
day is ruined. And, right. And so what are you saying out there? What are you thinking? What are you telling the law of God that you want to see created? A
Right.
terrible day.
Right.
And you certainly will have a terrible day. Guaranteed. It will get worse from there. Or you could say, man, the day's got to be better than this. The day's got to go better than
Right.
this.
Yeah.
Now you're saying something completely different. You're looking at the opposite of what has happened and creating that into your life. So it's all up to us. That's the biggest thing. It's not everything else out here doing it to me, causing me to be unhappy. It's actually me doing it to the experience, causing myself to be either happy or unhappy, whatever I'm putting out. So some people, that's scary. That's a weird thought. They're used to blaming everything else out here. That feels a little safer. Then I don't have to take responsibility. But if it were out there and it was everybody else or everything else coming against me, I can't really change all that.
Right.
And to me, that's what's scary.
I think that's scarier. Correct.
Right.
Yes. And I remember hearing one time that if I'm not at least part of the problem, there is no solution.
Exactly.
So, and I'm not saying that everything, and so I want to be clear because I never ever want someone who's been a victim,
Right.
an actual victim, to think that they created that for themselves. And there are, other people have free will and are creating things as well. So I want you to be aware that things happen in our world that we may not have put out there, right? What we do with that is our responsibility.
Our reaction is
Our reaction.
Our
is
reaction.
ours.
Because you've seen people go through horrific things.
Right.
Different people go through a similar horrific situation, and one can go so negative to it.
Mhm.
And you might say, rightly so, that was a horrible thing that happened to
Absolutely,
them.
right.
Absolutely, they have every right to be angry, to do whatever it is they did, or to revenge, or whatever it is. Then you can have someone over here who says, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to forgive. I'm going to do something good with that. I'm going to, turn that around.
Create something different.
Create something out of it. Like I'll never forget the woman who created Mothers Against Drunk Drivers from somebody killing her child
Right.
who was drunk. I mean, she could have been a miserable,
Absolutely.
angry. She could have done so many negative things with that, and everybody would have said, and yes,
Sure.
I totally, why wouldn't you? I get it. Instead, she turned that around and probably saved countless other people we will never be able to count lives. I know I signed that contract for my mother because of that woman. And I just think that's like, wow. So
Right.
you have the choice. Your reaction is your responsibility, whatever comes your way. I mean, I think sometimes you can get really deep into why some of those things come your way anyway. Some of the ways that we attract things and just the way that God works, but that's for like.
Yeah, that's a deeper conversation
Super
than the
deep
hour we
conversation.
have. So yes.
But we don't need to even understand that to understand that our reaction is what
Exactly.
we can do about it.
Exactly.
That is ours.
That is ours
Our
to
choice.
do. And I just wanted to make that clear because I never ever want someone who has been a victim, a true victim
Right.
of a crime or some other type of abuse to feel like we're saying you brought that on yourself. Never, 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 never. As a cancer survivor twice, I have experienced the second time I was in this teaching, and I did have somebody say, what were you thinking? And that was devastating to me. So I never want to create that for anyone else. My reaction to cancer has changed my life. So while it did what it did in my body, what it did for my spirit was I got serious about becoming a minister of science and mind. I moved on. The first time I got cancer, I got sober. So I cannot tell you sitting here in 2023 that those were bad things in my life because they motivated me and propelled me to something different that changed the trajectory of the way my life was going at the time prior to it. So for me, those two events in my life, in my body, changed my thoughts and where I was going. So there's a gift throughout my thoughts when I experience something that I think of as not being happy. I mean, so, when there are things that happen in my life that I'm not appreciative of, I can find a gift in those things. Not always at first.
I was gonna say, not always at first.
No.
No one's
No.
asking anybody.
It took
to
me
do that
6
at
months
first.
before I found the gift in cancer last time. And it was very, very dark experience for me during those 6 months.
Right.
So, we're very much here about being authentic. We are not about spiritual bypassing at all. We want you to have your feelings, and momentary thoughts also, like, we're talking about persistent thoughts. We're
Yeah.
not talking
I'm
about
talking about the fleeting things
the
that run through
fleeting,
your
the,
mind.
the
like
runaway thoughts, the runaway trains, right?
Yeah.
Like those things,
Those
we're not
don't
talking
stick
about
the
those.
same. They don't stick like the ones where you wallow in it for weeks and weeks and
And
you're
you feed it
and
in.
you feed it. Yeah, those
and
are the
you're
ones that are
repeating
probably
it.
going to start affecting some things,
Right.
and you're not
Sure.
going to want to track from there.
Right.
You don't want to move from there. You want to move from, the more positive place when you can get to that position in whatever has happened. I know in my life when things, I think it was something that bad that had happened to me. And then the first time that I came across somebody else that had that happen to them and I could help them was the first time, and I was pretty young, was the first time I recognized or had the thinking that maybe that happened to me, because I never could understand why that happened to me. Maybe that happened to me so that I could help her. And that was the first time before religious science that I started to think that way and pay attention to when something happened to me that I didn't like, what I didn't want, or I couldn't understand why would that happen? How did that happen to me? Why? And then I realized sometimes that's so that you have what it takes to be of a help to other people because you've been there. You may not have their exact experience, but you yourself have some understanding around the situation. And that has been an invaluable thing for me to recognize. So,
Absolutely. It helps bring compassion and empathy to my world when I can hear someone describe what they're feeling or what they're going through. And if they can't see a light at the end of the tunnel, and I happen to be through this tunnel, and I'm like, okay,
It's
well,
there.
I'm on the other side of the tunnel, and
found
I'd
it,
love to help you
Yeah.
come through this.
there's something like that. There's
It is.
something
There's
like
a-
helping somebody
Exactly.
through that.
That amount of genuine feeling for another human to say, oh, I get you and I'm here for you. That's an amazing feeling.
I agree. And while we may think that's really cool, but we still would rather that have not happened.
Sure.
We can't, sometimes we go, that's great, Michelle, really nice thought you're having there, but I still wish that hadn't happened to me. I
Sure.
understand it, but we can't go back and change the past.
Right.
And we didn't have,
And then there's where we go back to our reaction, right? I can't change the past. I can't change
fix that.
what's happened. What can I do with what I have in this moment, in this now thing? So
Yeah.
it's your thinking.
It
It's
is.
again, comes down to how are you choosing to think about it? What are you choosing to put into what we call the law of God? It's because the law of God always just says yes. So what are you choosing to put in there? And that just comes from how you're going to think about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think it's a kind of a tough topic in some ways. I mean, it's not
I know.
super easy.
I don't think we thought it all the way through. It was going to be an easy, light topic there.
No,
I know we didn't.
I knew it wasn't a light
Yeah.
topic. The thinking is always the thing. But anyway, I think we covered what I was when I looked at this, I thought, oh, this is very heady. And if it took me a while to understand some of this stuff through my spiritual learning.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope we explained it in a way that it makes sense to those of you who aren't religious scientists. And if it didn't, I mean, please message us. I'm more than happy to. I know Jeannie is the same way. We're more than happy to have those discussions so they make better sense. But I hope the overall understanding is you are in charge of how you're thinking and your reactions, and that creates your experience. So it's just something to be considering and paying attention to. What do you think? I think that's it.
Oh, you're asking my thoughts
That's-
again? And we just discussed
That's
how
right.
these things are.
So what do you think about it? Yeah.
What do I think about it? I think a lot.
I know.
Actually,
I think we covered everything out of that.
I think I use that word a lot now.
I know. Now notice it. See, now we're
That
hyper aware
word.
of that word.
Hyper aware of that
Yes,
word.
That's funny.
I'm still not over the word energy. I think it sounds weird. So, yeah, it started sounding weird to me 6 months ago, and I'm not over it
Not
yet.
over it
So
yet?
now thinking might be my new energy.
Yeah, let's
Mm.
focus on thinking.
Yeah, there we go. Let's become things.
I know.
I,
So I understand you have a meditation
I
for us
do
today.
have a meditation for
And I'm
us.
thinking, I feel like this is a good place. Does anybody have any comments from the gallery? No, we feel complete, feel good. Okay.
Okay.
So let's go into that then, because I think this is a good meditation that you have.
All right. So for this, I just want you to be in a space of comfort for yourself and to feel supported by the chair underneath you. And we are going to take a little journey. I just want you to be very much in the present moment. So let's take a breath in and release it. And another breath in. Okay. And in this spot, I want you to imagine a bright light, a pillar of light going straight up, and see that light. See what color it is, the shape of it. And I want you to now go into that light and feel yourself brought into it and moved up. And as you're going up, you see the top of the trees. You go further up into the clouds. See the curvature of the earth. You're leaving the earth. You're heading into space. And now, as you go and you're in space, you can step out of that light. And you step over to another beam of light, a different color, a different design. And you step into it and it brings you back down into a future earth, a future time and space. And as it brings you down, it brings you right to a celebration of you in the future, your older, wiser self that is healthy in body and mind. And this celebration is filled with people. Take a look around. Who do you see there celebrating your life with you? And as you see your older, wiser self, get their attention. Ask them to come over. Go someplace private, because there's something you need to talk to them about. And as you go and you find that spot with your older, wiser self, ask them, what is it that I need to know about my life? What is it that was most important during this time between us? And really listen. Ask that older, wiser self, were there things that I could do, that I could embrace, that I could release, that I didn't need to stress so much about? That at this point in your life, You're so glad I did. And as this older, wiser self explains to you the thoughts, the expressions, the attitude, the joys, the sorrows, the things that made where they are now so beautiful, that brought the celebration to their door. They tell you to wait. They have a gift for you. They come back, this beautiful box, and they hand you this beautiful box, this present moment box. And you open it, and inside is all you need to know. What is it? What is this gift? It's so precious. You are so grateful. And as you go to hug them goodbye, this older, wiser self and you merge, because this is part of who you already are. And with this older, wiser self fills you, fills your spirit, fills your soul, fills your mind with the divine consciousness and confidence that you are exactly who you are meant to be. That you are now, as always, whole, perfect, and complete. So you step back into the light that takes you up out of this space, past the trees, through the clouds, the curvature of the earth, as you go into the sky, into space, and move over to the light that brings you back to the present day. And as you step into that present day light, feel yourself return to your seat here and now. Feel yourself and that older, wiser self fill your present body. Wiggle your toes, stretch your hands, and when you're ready, open your eyes. Love that. That was so good. So I did this meditation earlier today in my meditation, and when I got here, I said to Michelle, I need to do this meditation. My older, wiser self presented me with a blue velvet box that had a clear ball in it. And so I looked up the meaning of this, and it said, to relax, everything's working out.
I love that.
And I was so grateful because there are things that we worry about, the things I worry about, things that I think about. And I was so grateful that my older, wiser self was like, everything's going to work out. Just relax.
That's funny. I didn't get a crystal ball, but I got kind of the same message, like, let God do God's part. And, you've already established what your wants are. Let God do God's part and let it go. Stop, kind of like the same thing. Stop worrying about it. So, yeah.
I love that.
Because even though we're sitting here on the sofa, we worry. I worry.
Yeah.
And I do try to manage that, but that's still thoughts that there are still top of mind things, right? That are running through. And so I have to work on them, but they're still keep happening. So yeah.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
that was
not
a
a
good
black belt
message.
minister yet.
Really?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
How long does that take?
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know a single minister that's a black belt minister.
I don't know. And I know ministers that are in their, 30th, 40th, 50th year of ministry.
Yeah.
So,
We're still having a human experience.
Exactly.
We're spiritual beings having a human experience, and so therefore those human things are going to happen, and we're going to have those human reactions, and then we're going to go, oh, wait a minute, I know a few things about this. Let me back up and try that again. So yeah, I think it's just par for the course, which is why you and I have a ministry.
There you go.
So
it's part of the course.
Help deal with it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think we have one more week on this theme. Is that correct? 2 more weeks?
2
more weeks. It's amazing how many different ways you can think about thoughts.
Yeah.
How many different angles there are about thinking.
Exactly.
Yeah, because every week's going to be different. It's amazing to me.
And speaking of next week, well, did we have anything? Any revelations? No? So next week, I wanted to make sure everybody knows that it's Sofa Sunday
I
Social.
was just going to ask.
Yeah.
You got to say that.
Yeah, tomorrow. Next Sunday is Sofa Sunday Social.
Sofa Sunday.
And so
We need a jingle.
if you have, we need a
We need a
jingle.
Sofa
You're a
Sunday.
singer. Let's do it. So if you have yet to join us at Enchiladas on a Sunday, please come out. We have a great time. And it's just a chance to get to know everybody and have a little bit more casual conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
And we get to eat enchiladas, so.
Yeah, and we love that.
Those
Great chips.
I know the chips. Yeah, so we would love that. So I hope you've marked that on your calendars. We mentioned it at the beginning of the month so that you would have time. It's a great time. If you haven't visited us before in person, it's a great time to come be in person and then go to lunch with us after that.
Absolutely.
So see what we're trying to create here in our community and maybe decide then if you'd like to be more a part of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we love it. We love all the people that are online. And at the same time, we are also trying to create something in person as well. So we would appreciate seeing you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know. What else is there? I think we have it. Oh, and if you want to, so we have our Facebook group members. We're finally got over the 500. And
Yes, we did. Yay.
We're still moving
moving.
every day.
Yes.
We're having new people come on there. So I think it gets to be like a snowball effect at some point, which is awesome. But there's other ways to support our ministry. So when you are a Facebook member, we would love it if you find our live feeds meaningful, helpful. We would love it if you would share them, comment on them, put little gifts on them, because that lets Facebook know something's going on in our group, and then it will put our group out there to other people on its own. So that's really one way to help. The other way would be to just, maybe be a spiritual church club partner. And you can learn all about that on our website at beginwithinministries.com. It will walk you through the steps to do that. If you need any help, let us know. But we would love more partners. The more partners we have, these are people that support us financially. The more partners that we have, the more things that we can do, including having our own building at some point, having a children's ministry, you need a labyrinth. This woman needs her own labyrinth.
I need it.
But it does. It helps us
And
to
I think
create
about
all
it
that.
often.
Yes.
I'm out picturing
She is thinking
that. Yes, I've so far manifested, the labyrinth puzzle.
I know, you're getting closer.
And I have a T-shirt.
Now we have a T-shirt.
Yeah, so
And
I'm
the
getting
book.
there.
Yeah,
And the book. That's true.
It's happening. We're going to have that labyrinth. I just really, really shortly. So,
Exactly.
but yeah, so that helps us to create the community, then to be able to support the community too. That we do things like we have our weekly affirmation cards, and we have our mugs, and we have classes and things that we do. So that as a whole, the partners get to share in things that we produce that way. So the
Absolutely.
more the merrier on that.
We also have coming up next month, believe it or not, it's been a year on the sofa.
Yes.
Yes. So we're going to do a celebration November 19th. We will be having a sound healing. Linda will be doing a sound healing.
If you've never had a sound healing, this is a amazing experience.
Amazing. She's amazing with the balls.
Yep.
So
she's one of our partners, our spiritual
yes.
church club partners, and so she's going to give that
Right.
as part of this
and
celebration.
you can give her a love offering as you like. And we'll also have food. We haven't discussed that yet, but there will be food after service.
If you and I are together, there's food.
There's always food. There'll be at least hummus, if nothing
She always
else.
makes sure there's hummus. No, there'll be food,
Yes.
trust us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that day. So mark that on your calendars, a day to be here also in person to celebrate with us. We're excited that we're almost a year old. I mean, I don't know where the time has gone and
It
how
really
we still
has
have
gone.
stuff to talk about, but that's
Right?
awesome.
I know. Who knew we'd be able to talk this long?
Oh, I knew we could
Anybody
talk
that
this long.
met us.
I know,
right?
everybody knew. Yeah, you guys could talk forever. But we're not going to talk forever today. It is time. But we so appreciate your support. We appreciate being here for a year coming up. And we have so much more to come. So we're very
Yes.
excited
Thank
about
you
that.
so much.
All right. Have a great rest of your
Have a
day.
great
and
day.
True will let you turn everything off for us. So
Bye,
thank you.
guys.
Have a great
And thank
Sunday.
you. I
Great-
see everybody on Facebook. Thank you.
See you next time. In person, hopefully.
Hopefully.
That would be great.